In the historic mining town of Leadville,
we're in Leadville at the Temple Israel.
Historian Bill Korn says the Temple Israel Museum
It was built in 1884.
Has been an important part of the Jewish history here for nearly 140 years.
It was the center of Jewish life.
It was the second synagogue in Colorado ever built.
And we believe it's the third oldest west of the Mississippi.
And today is a museum dedicated to the early Jewish settlers in Leadville. Settlers,
we go through, we write up their story,
getting their own digital biographies.
We've been able to identify about 1,300 individuals, Jews who lived up here before 1940, which is sort of our cutoff date. And we are endeavoring to write at least some biographical information about every one of them.
All in a building that's been restored as it was in the late 1800s, right down to the hand-painted walls.
The walls here were painted then. Typically they use stencils, we did also.
And next month we'll store Synagogue of the Summit's old Torah scroll for safekeeping.
And they'll be retiring their old Torah, which we will be storing for them.
Making sure that this temple remains a place of prayer.
Thrilled to have these events because the original and primary purpose of this building is for prayer.
While Bill says it keeps preserving Jewish history in Leadville.
People are always surprised when they come in here.
It really is a beautiful, beautiful place, open daily from 10 to 6, admissions free, although they do take donations. And while there's not particularly a Jewish congregation in Leadville, occasionally they still have services here. They have bar mitzvahs and weddings as well. And it's just an incredible history in this temple. It, at one time, was used as an apartment complex. At that time, they actually took a lot of what identified this as a synagogue down. And then while they were restoring it, they found one of the original Stars of David that they thought they had lost. It was buried in the yard next to it. So that too is on display. Just a lot to see, Jordan and Corey, in this museum that's open year-round daily.
It's so cool that they have preserved so much there, including the hand-painted walls. I know last week you did the story on the church that was like 150 years old, and now the temple. You guys really have some great history up in the high country.
We've been taking a religious historical tour of Colorado. You know, we did that story, and the folks here at the temple, they contacted me and said, you got to come to Leadville and do something on this temple because it's beautiful. And so if people have story ideas, obviously, Corey, Jordan, we love those story ideas, and it reveals so much. You learn so much about your own state that maybe you didn't know about.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and Matt, just briefly, I'm going to steal a thought from Corey. You know, we were talking about you're standing in a place where, you know, you're going back to the 1800s, the things that have happened in that building since then where you're standing.
And this one in particular, I mean, you know, a lot of churches that stayed churches were just churches, but this building has seen so many things. It was a synagogue, it was an apartment complex, now it's a museum. And so, yeah, it's just really interesting to think about the different progressions that the history has taken inside this historic building.
Such a great story this morning. Matt, thank you.